build more infrastructure to make IVF more accessible and more affordable. But how to do that while maintaining the quality? That's obviously the key question. And we have a number of experts joining us. After that, Kritzveen, who's the very special person of interest we have joining us?
Someone who's received an international award in the domain of animation. And this is an Oscar equivalent. That's what makes it so very exciting. So we're going to talk about his story. The project for which he's won this very prestigious award also goes by a very interesting name, but we're not going to give into that as yet.
Yeah, we won't give it to you yet. But he is known as the father of animation, and so it's not just a deep dive into his film, it's also a deep dive into Indian animation, where it stands today and where it's headed. For now, let's very quickly take you through all the headlines.
IVF still a luxury for most couples in India. That trend most certainly is changing. So we talk about how there is an attempt being made slowly to break the silence around infertility. How fertility rate has fallen below replacement level in India, which means 1 in 6 couples in India face infertility, and how these treatments, given this number and figure, are now going beyond metro cities into tier 2 and tier 3 cities essentially. It's expanding rapidly. We'll talk about that and decode the same with our experts this morning.
After that, we take you to Desi Un spinning gold at the Animation Festival Awards that have just taken place. And as we told you, this is almost the Oscars of the animation world. So we have Suresh Arya joining us. He is considered the father of Indian animation, and he talks to us a little bit about what it's taken to create this special little film, but also how he's pioneered Indian animation over the last few decades and where he sees India going. What is it going to take for us to get our own manga culture?
And how can we forget cricket? It is an interesting series that's ongoing still. Akash is the limit for Pacer Deep. That's the word on everyone's mind as the series is ongoing still. Historic feat at Edgbaston, which is still making it to the headlines. 336-run win over England is being spoken of highly, and Akash Deep is very much the man of the moment. The 10-wicket haul, which is being hailed by one and all. Akash Deep's emotional turnaround is what we decode this morning on TBC.
And after that, India's women cricketers hit the right note, and we tell you a little bit about how Harmanpreet Kaur, Sneha Rana, Jemima Rodriguez, Shafali Verma, Deepti Sharma, these women cricketers are showcasing their singing talent. We'll tell you a little bit about that. First, India's fertility rate as we speak is dropping, and what that means is that Indian women are actually having fewer children than needed to maintain the population size from one generation to the next. The fertility rate is therefore right in the center of our focus today, and it's dropped to 1.9 births per woman, which is essentially considered to be below what is the replacement level of 2.1. 1 in 6 couples today is struggling with infertility, and so we thought today was the perfect time on the Breakfast Club to discuss how and what infrastructure is being built, as millions say that they're unable to have as many children as they want to have. Now, sensing this demand, IVF chains are on an expansion spree. They're opening centers in tier 2 and tier 3 towns like Vellore, like Prayagraj.
So we'll talk about that and how that expansion is shaping up. One is accessibility. That's one important factor. It's also important to explore how affordable are these treatments. How many people can really afford these expensive treatments? And expensive because the cost of an IVF treatment can vary based on several factors. But to give you a rough idea, the cost of one treatment or one IVF cycle can range between 1 to 3.5 lakh rupees. That's quite a number. And there are those who may have to continue the treatment for 2-3 cycles. Doctors have been decoding how it varies from patient to patient before they finally achieve parenthood. So we'll talk about those trends, those patterns in specific. There are changing trends that are also turning out to be motivational stories. For instance, in Mumbai, a government hospital is offering free IVF treatments for women, a rare exception in a system that leaves most couples to fight infertility alone. So what more can be done? We'll talk about that through the course of the day.
Okay, so what are some of the big questions we ask today on the Breakfast Club? Number one, can IVF be made more affordable and accessible while retaining its quality for all? Number two, should infertility be a public health priority? Number three, will private players dominate India's fertility care landscape over the next few years? Are we already set to make that happen? And number four, is India ready to close the gap in parenthood dreams? Where are we right now and where are we headed? Before we move to our guests and the conversation, we would like to credit our colleague Himani Channa, she's from News18.com, for reporting this story, for bringing these numbers up in our focus.
So yes, quickly taking it across to our experts. Joining in Dr. Surveen Sindhu, Director and Head of IVF and Reproductive Medicine, Max Multi-Speciality Hospitals from Delhi, is with us this morning. A very good morning to you, Doctor. Also joining us is Mahesh Jayaraman. He is an IAFFH certified functional hormone specialist, also co-founder of Sepalika Fertility. He's going to give us an interesting aspect on what other factors are considered for a successful fertility, especially in IVF cases. So we'll talk to both our experts this morning. Toya, do you want to take up the first question?
Yeah, let's go over to Dr. Sindhu first, just to understand. Doctor, can you give us an overview first? So one of the statistics, the data points we shared with our audiences is that essentially 1 in 6 couples in India turns out to be infertile. Now, of that 1 in 6, right now, what is access like in Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities? What percentage, say, are successfully being able to get IVF treatments? Where is the most need in terms of IVF centers being built out and at affordable rates?
Good morning to all, and I would just say that if I give you the statistics of the ART centers which have been registered with the government so far, with the ART board, ever since the bill came out in 2022, 113 centers are from Delhi, and there are a total of 580 centers across the country. So you can see the mismatch of a metro versus a national level, this thing of 580 centers. So Tier 2 and Tier 3 are really lacking with IVF centers, and there are many causes for that. It is lack of manpower out there, skilled manpower like embryologists are not available, lack of being able to maintain a quality control, lack of equipment being supplied, the media being supplied in time. So there are many factors, and lack of affordability for that population, as quality demands that yes, this treatment would be expensive. Since most of the media is coming from outside, it's not made in India. So there is a cost to this particular treatment.
Doctor, before I go across to Mahesh, I also want to understand what can be done then, because that's what we began by talking about. One is how accessible are IVF treatments in these Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. The other aspect is how can it be made affordable? Now, in your understanding, where does the government come into the picture? How actively can the government participate or take an initiative to the extent that we actually see a difference on ground zero in terms of easy accessibility?
So I would say that how can we is not the question. It is that we must make it affordable. And the way we can make it affordable is that getting an insurance coverage for infertility, because infertility is no longer just a condition. It's a disease with a huge, it has many problems associated with it, like psychological problems, a marriage failing, a lot of other violence, domestic violence comes up with infertility. There are divorces and separations. So this is the need of the hour. The affordability comes, one, with the insurance coverage. Second is government-funded initiatives. It's high time government started doing a fertility building program here in India with the fertility rates falling. And third is that maybe private financial agencies can give loans. This could become a norm. Fourth is to make it more affordable. Probably we start manufacturing many of the things in India itself. That would bring down the cost. So a Make in India perspective can be done.
All right. Okay, doctor, we'll ask you a little bit more in a second about what fertility building actually looks like, what a program like that would look like. But Prithvin, should we go over to Mahesh Jairam
Yeah, and
next?
Mahesh, interestingly, had a presentation today to give. So he's taken out time for us. He's been kind enough to take out time for us. He was going to interact with a couple of doctors and nutritionists. Mahesh, you want to tell us what you were going to brief them about and what clinic like yours do essentially in helping people achieve parenthood, especially IVF cases?
Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity. Yes, and this presentation was going to be to doctors and nutritionists about how they can collaborate with each other. So, doctor just spoke about this very important aspect of fertility building, and that's exactly what this presentation was going to be about. There are cases that we get at Sepalika Fertility which have failed sometimes multiple rounds of IVF. And what has happened in these cases is while everybody is focusing on the reproductive system, nobody's looked at the foundations of the person, right? Are they getting enough protein? Are they sleeping well? Are they moving well? So many women with insulin resistance face such difficulties when it comes to trying to fall pregnant. And so we've had successes where we're able to help such patients with the right diet, lifestyle changes, yoga, all of these supportive aspects, and then they go back. Many of them conceive naturally if the structural factors are all in place, and even if they need to go back to IVF, we collaborate with IVF doctors and they can see the difference in the patient's file when they came to us, and after the diet and lifestyle interventions, what's the ease with which the IVF round goes and the kind of success that they see. So I'm completely aligned with the doctor on fertility building rather than only focusing on treatments after it's become too difficult for them to conceive.
Okay, typically with the help of programs that you offer, the kind of diet plans that you offer to your doctors, to your clients, what's the kind of success rate? And if I may get into details, how many IVF cycles then it typically takes with that kind of an additional help to ensure that the IVF treatment sees success?
Yeah, all very, very relevant questions. And we are very early in the cycle on this. There is evidence that nutrition, lifestyle change helps to improve IVF outcomes, but the studies are still being published.
Okay.
So, if I could quote the study that we have in India, 2019, published in the journal Fertility and Sterility, Chakravarti, etc., live birth rate per embryo transfer on average in India. This is across 36,000 IVF cycles done between 2012 and 2016. The average birth rate was 29.3%. So earlier on, when you said that, couples may need more than one cycle, on average, obviously the younger people will likely succeed sooner, but on average, it takes 3 cycles to achieve a live birth. And unfortunately, the industry is not very scrupulous when it comes to reporting success rates. So just getting a home pregnancy test being positive is considered to be a success. And what you're really looking for is a live birth. Nobody just wants 2 lines on the home pregnancy test, right? So in our clinic, and we are a very small operation, this is early days for this particular kind of work. So certainly we match the kinds of success rates that are seen in IVF, but we are doing that with cases who are refracting from IVF. So failed IVF, 1 or 2 rounds, then come do the diet work, and we have the same success rates as a first round IVF would.
Okay, I want to go back to Dr. Sindhu to understand. Doctor, are you seeing more and more? So first just walk us through a decade ago and today. The differences you're seeing when couples are coming in to ask you about IVF. What is the difference in the kind of questions they're asking? Are they more open to taking alternative treatments like this when they are not being able to be successful with IVF? First walk us through what you're seeing and if there are differences in a tier 1 couple, in a tier 2 couple coming to Max. Max is obviously in Delhi, but still coming from a different city. What are the kind of questions you're seeing?
So the difference I've seen over the decade is huge. One is that the age difference. There were younger couples coming earlier. Now there are a lot of older couples coming because marriages are late. Women are going in for pregnancies late. So the age factor has come in. Along with the age factor has come in a decrease in the egg reserve because that goes with the age factor.
Yeah.
So we've got couples who are going to be needing donor eggs. And the acceptability of donor egg has increased henceforth because of that. In fact, I am amazed that I find couples coming in and saying that, okay, for 10 years we didn't want a child, now we want a child. See if it can be done with IVF, otherwise we'll go in for adoption, which was never the case earlier. It was always my egg, it has to be my egg. Adoption, donor egg was like a big taboo. Here, I have couples coming in and saying that, okay, I don't have eggs, let's go in for a donor egg. So the acceptability of a donor egg has become much more, the acceptability for adoption has become much more with these couples. As far as the tier 2 and 3 cities are concerned, I think IVF is slowly creeping into them. But even 5-6 years ago, I used to get patients who have just patients from villages. A school teacher from a village would just Google and come in and say, I read about this and I think we need it and we would like it. So probably the educational status of tier 2 and tier 3 cities is helping them to come up now. Earlier, it was that, yes, it was a big taboo. Even now it is. They hide it and come. And many of them come to Delhi because they don't want to do it in their own town. They don't want people to know. So that is one big barrier in tier 2 and 3 cities, because the doctor treating them may be their neighbor. So they just don't want people to know. It is also an awareness that this treatment exists. 10 years back, the awareness was much less. The success stories have infiltrated into tier 2, tier 3 cities. So it has made them come and take this treatment. Otherwise, probably without the success stories, it wouldn't have happened. So whether it is a 30% live birth or a 20% live birth, it is happening. And it is happening for that section of people who are desperately wanting a child. So even if we could, put in just that percentage, we could give them a child, I think we are doing pretty good. At least we are helping whichever sect we can help. And I think accessibility is the main thing if we really want to seep into the villages and the smaller cities.
It's great to hear that as a society we've come a long way. That an issue such as infertility was considered an issue. It was highly stigmatized, and slowly we're moving away from it. In metropolitan cities, yes, for sure, there's more that can be done in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, is what the doctor's also pointing out. Mahesh, have you noticed that change in a trend in tier 2, tier 3 cities? Have the doctors associated with you pointed out to these kind of positive changes that we're seeing in the society at large? And you spoke about lifestyle, you spoke about the right nutrition and how that really can help couples who are looking at achieving parenthood, especially in IVF cases. But what about awareness? Where do we stand when it comes to awareness around these issues?
Absolutely. So yes, access in tier 2, tier 3 cities has really changed the landscape. It's no longer considered that kind of taboo. And obviously, like the doctor rightly said, success rates of even 30% are a chance that these desperate couples are very happy to have. They're very happy with those odds. So yes, to that extent. But this is one of those little bit of a funny situation where, at Sepalika Fertility, we really struggle to get even patient testimonials. Because even though you've just worked on your diet and your lifestyle and you've conceived, you still don't want the world at large to know that you needed any help to have a child. It cuts too close to the bone. Fertility is part of our identity. We just expect it to happen naturally. And when it doesn't, it's not something that you want the whole world to know. And in India, in any case, we don't tell anybody that we're pregnant until the first trimester is over, because, you don't want anybody except close family knowing, because the chances are there that the pregnancy may not continue. But yes, all of this is happening. When it comes to diet and lifestyle, though, that is certainly not there in tier 2, tier 3 cities as an awareness. It is the metro cities that are leading it. Most of our clients come from Bangalore, Mumbai. These are couples working in IT. They know what they have done in terms of paying a price for the career that they have pursued, late nights, partying hard, working hard, etc. So that's where the awareness is initially. But it will begin to seep to the other cities as well. I think these are harmless, easy to do changes. And the more we can simplify it and codify it into simple things that people can add, we're going to see a role for this sort of awareness of the other aspects that can improve fertility as well.
Okay, wonderful. Let's go back then to Dr. Surveen to understand. Doctor, you were talking, if we return to the issue at hand, which is how to make IVF more accessible, more affordable, you brought up a very interesting point earlier. You said that there's a need for more made in India equipment when it comes to actually doing IVF. Can you just tell our audience, because we're all lay people, what percentage, so first tell us about the kind of equipment that's required. What percentage right now is made in India? Is any percent of it made in India? And what that process of probably manufacturing here could look like, quality equipment.
So I would say that most of the equipment is from outside. It's not made in India. There is need. There are some companies which are giving media, etc., from India, but the results are not good. So there is a lack of quality control, which needs to be very, very precise. And that quality control coming to India means that we have to invest massively into whatever we are manufacturing. And when we invest massively, does the cost come up? That is another question. But yes, what we are using, that is the egg retrieval needles, the embryo transfer needles, the media, most of them come from outside.
What does the word media mean here in this context? You keep using it and I just thought we should.
Media is the culture media in which the embryo grows, the egg can be put, we put it in the incubator in a dish. It's put in a media which has certain specific antioxidants, there's a certain amount of proteins, and that's what actually makes the egg fertilize and an embryo. So that if it is even a little bit out as far as the constituents are concerned, we will not have any fertilization and we will not have a success rate. So that is why it is important to have that as a very, very concise thing. Then the temperature control in the lab, the VOC control, the atmosphere control has to be very precise. Now, these are things which can be done in India, but I think somebody has to take the initiative, and that is what is going to bring the cost down. I'd also like to make another point here from my previous question on how things changed. About 10 years back, I never got single women for egg freezing. 5 years back, I started getting 1 or 2 per year. And today, I get 4 to 5 a month coming in for egg freezing. That's how India has changed. And most of these women used to say that when we get married, we'll use our eggs. Now I'm getting women who froze their eggs 5 years back coming in and saying, we haven't got a partner, we want to take a donor sperm and have a baby. That's in the metros.
Another thing we're wanting to do through this particular program is spread awareness around IVF treatments, right? So, Doctor, if you could quickly come in on the same. As of today, given the situation that currently stands, we've been reading a lot about how the cost of the treatment varies from patient to patient. A lot of factors are kept in mind when you go about finally billing the patient. What are these factors? Tell us a little bit about that window that we've spoken of, between 1 lakh to 3.5 lakh.
Yeah, so the one is that, the injections themselves are of varied costs. They could be the recombinant ones, which are very expensive because they are produced artificially. They are the natural ones, which are taken out from natural hormones, which are cheaper. The recombinant ones are the ones which are more precise, they are more accurate. There is a huge cost difference there. The cost difference also comes in an inherent case. An older woman of 40 would take probably many more injections, many more drugs, bringing a cost, to nearly double of what a younger woman with a good egg reserve would take. So this is where individualized medicine takes place, and this is where the cost comes up. The procedure itself is pretty standard. So the cost of the needle, the cost of the embryo transfer catheter is not going to vary case to case. But what actually varies is the need for multiple IVFs for a younger woman or a woman with a good egg reserve or a man who has a good sperm count. They may do it in one cycle. But for a woman, let's say, who has an egg reserve which is very low, or the sperm count is nil and we are taking out sperms from the testes, there the success rate is much lesser, and we need to do multiple cycles to reach that 30% we are talking about. Or we may never reach it also. So that's how the cost varies, from place to place. I think the cost also varies on how good an infrastructure you're maintaining. There are certain labs which do not concentrate on quality, and there are certain labs which concentrate on quality. And concentrating on quality means that you're getting your VOC checks done, you have a quality control person coming in, you have all the equipment in place, you have your alarms in place in case your atmosphere is not what is required, your temperature is not what is required, the alarm comes on your phone. Now these are things which an IVF lab can do without but will give bad results. But investing in them means that you have a good IVF lab, and investing in them means that the cost goes up.
All right, Dr. Sindhu and Mahesh, thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking out the time to just break this topic down for our audience. It has been so reassuring to hear some of the statistics you've shared with us. It is wonderful to know, A, that there's more courage across the country today. People are having these conversations. But B, that people are now considering alternate family structures. They're saying, let's go in for having a child alone if we aren't being able to figure out other pieces. So thank you, both of you, for joining us.
And we're still also hoping, Toya, that one learns from what Doctor just pointed out, that as a society, what we must aim for is that though IVF treatments should be made cheaper, the quality should remain intact. So quality is something that we're going to
while Make in India. I did love, the idea that we should introduce this right here in India, but who's going to take the initiative and how? That's obviously a key question. We're going to be heading into a quick break. On the other side, we shift focus entirely. From this discussion based around science and real life, we take you to the imaginary world of animation. Desi Oon has just won big at a huge animation festival awards. These are considered the equivalent of the Oscars. And we are bringing you the father, or some call him the grandfather of Indian animation, Suresh Ariyath. He's joining us on the show to talk to us all about it.
This
dangerously cool.
Go, stop, go. Playing this game like a tic-tac-toe. Sharp as a razor, the flavor bowl. Flip it out, they wanna fold. Keeping them coming.
Motorola Razr 60, dangerously cool.
Hello, Moto.
Let's begin with our top focus story now. This is a CNN News 18 mega exclusive. This is on the rift between Pakistan's political class and terror groups, with the Pakistani army now seemingly supporting the former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Now, why are we saying that? This is as per top intelligence sources that have suggested to CNN News 18 that Bilawal's recent stance on extraditing designated terrorists like Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar to India suggests a consensus within Pakistan's political leadership. Sources have also suggested that the political class, including Bilawal's Pakistan People's Party, is striving for international legitimacy, particularly in compliance with the FATF mandates. And sources are also indicative of the fact that Bilawal has highlighted the dismantling of over 900 terror groups and institutions and asset seizures, and also arrests as evidence of Pakistan's changing stance. Now, despite Pakistan's efforts, sources are also revealing that the groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed have historically served as tools for plausible deniability in Kashmir operations. So, big development there that is coming in from Pakistan, where there seems to be a great divide when it is about the consensus on whether to support terror infrastructure, terror groups, and what has been the recent stance of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari.
International news channel को interview.
Let's begin with our top focus story now. This is a CNN News 18 mega exclusive. This is on the rift between Pakistan's political class and terror groups, with the Pakistani army now seemingly supporting the former Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Now, why are we saying that? This is as per top intelligence sources that have suggested to CNN News 18 that Bilawal's recent stance on extraditing Designated terrorists like Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar to India suggests a consensus within Pakistan's political leadership. Sources have also suggested that the political class, including Bilaval's Pakistan People's Party, is striving for international legitimacy, particularly in compliance with the FATF mandates. And sources are also indicative of the fact that Bilawal has highlighted the dismantling of over 900 terror groups and institutions and asset seizures, and also arrests as evidence of Pakistan's changing stance. Now, despite Pakistan's efforts, sources are also revealing that the groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed have historically served as tools for plausible deniability in Kashmir operations. So, big development there that is coming in from Pakistan.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. Now we return to the world of animation. Welcome back to the Breakfast Club, viewers. What we're going to talk about is how we as a country think of animation. Now, we've seen how the world thinks of Japanese anime or American cartoons, but what about India? Where do we stand when it comes to the world of animation? What does our animated identity look like? Our guest today has spent decades answering that question, not just for India, for himself to an extent too. He's often called the father of Indian animation. Suresh Ariyat, the creative mind and founder of Studio Ixorus. A very interesting name there, I must say. So yeah, his latest stop motion short, Desi Oon, a beautifully crafted story rooted in the traditions of Indian shepherds and wool making, just won big at Annecy, widely regarded as the Oscars of animation.
Now, it's not just another trophy, it's a huge step towards giving our country, Indian animation, an identity of its own. And it's a mission that he's been driving since the 90s, back when animation in India was still a fringe thing, not considered a very serious profession. He's changed all of that. But what first sparked his imagination? Well, he says it's the ghost stories his father used to tell him. We will let him tell you more. We don't want to ruin how he has built these beautifully textured worlds and brought them to life. We are so thrilled to have Suresh Ariyat with us here on the show this morning. Let's just go over to him. Good morning, Suresh. How are you? Lovely to have you here. Can you first just walk us through what the origin story is for the film that has just garnered all of this acclaim, Desi Oon?
Oh, okay. It all started in Delhi when we just walked into an exhibition, I think in the Triveni Hall. It was called Desi Oon. The exhibition was called Desi Oon. And that's where we actually got to see such a wide variety of wool produce coming from India, and to come to know about the fact that India has almost 42 breeds of sheep, and pastoralism is a lifestyle that many have chosen in this country. So it started from there in 2022 December. And I mean, then of course, inspired and everything, I got a few books from there to read up on that. And then eventually in 2023, Center for Pastoralism approached me, telling me that, you know, we are doing an exhibition called Living Lightly in Bangalore, and it would be great if we can create something to dedicate it to the shepherds and the pastoral life. And that's the genesis of the film. And so the seed was sown in 2022 December, when I got exposed to the space very briefly. And then I think slowly the connections and the serendipities kind of made it happen in 2024. The film took us 1 whole year to make.
So that's a lot of effort that's essentially gone into the film, 1 whole year. But very interesting, Suresh spoke about how this was almost meant to come to him. Desi Oon was supposed to find its way to Suresh. Suresh, tell us a little bit about what was the exact process that you followed while creating this very special project.
I had to write a synopsis of what I need to bring out in this film. So, you know, structurally I kind of wrote it in English, and then I sent it to the magician writer Swanand Kirkire. So he took it all and he took a brief from me.
These are visuals from Croak Show.
Half an hour, 1 hour, And I said that, I'm very passionate about this cause, and, this such a lifestyle exists in this country where people, shepherds and the sheep flock walk for 6 months, covering almost 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers every year. And they live a life which is, they don't have any roof over their heads. It's like they are just walking with the flock, and sometimes flock kind of navigating them, sometimes them shepherding the sheep. So it is a life which is very beautifully sustainable with nature, environment, climate, everything. They know how to adapt with climatic changes, etc. So I had to bring all this into this film, so that people in a very short while get a gist of what we are trying to introduce them to this sort of life. And Swanand actually pulled out a lot of references of folk music and actually wrote the lyrics according to the tempo and the structure of the folk music forms from northern Karnataka, Maharashtra. So there are several forms of music styles from the shepherd community that have been derived, and the words have been metered, done to that meat.
So we're actually playing out right now for our audience visuals from one of your films, Croak Show, other films you've created. We'll also show our audience in a little while what Desi Oon actually looks like. But tell us, how has being an animator changed the way that you look at the world?
I think definitely it has. Unless and until I get into someone else's mind and eyes, I can't figure out how different I'm thinking. But of course, the way I'm training, the way I'm looking at people, observing them and finding interesting nuances, just looking at them, and able to kind of, generate a story out of just observing them doing whatever they're doing, even if I'm at an airport or while walking, etc., has kind of made my thinking slightly twisted. I think it's helpful, in just having a different perspective when it comes to working in a unreal sort of a space, and bringing it convincingly out for the audience to enjoy and relish. I think somewhere this sort of twisted imagination has helped me. I still draw people when I'm sneakingly, with my bulgy eyes, I keep staring at people and draw. People wonder what am I staring at, but
I can almost picture
I
that.
kind of capture them as much as possible wherever I am, even when I'm on the move.
So it wouldn't be wrong to say, Suresh, then that you animated your dreams into reality. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about your story. How did you get into the world of animation? How did you get to the point where you wanted to explore it further? Because at the time that you were perhaps pursuing animation, the 90s, the animation scene, especially in India, was very different.
It was absolutely different. If I had to talk about turning points, of course, getting into NID and going to NID and seeing that amazing space, which really felt like home for me, was a game changer. Of course, because I went to NID, saw the campus and came back, and I was writing the JEE for IIT, is when when I realized that I got through, I really felt that I don't need to struggle anymore to go and write the second day of my JEE. I skipped the second day, thinking that was enough. Now I'm home with NID. So that really changed me. I found the right place. I was very fortunate to be one among the 30 that got through that year in 91 to NID. In 98, after finishing NID, and animation is not something that I wanted to get into because I knew there was no industry that existed where I could find some jobs after I finished NID. So, but it was something that my jury at NID recommended that I take up. So I was the only student out of the 30 who took up animation.
Oh my God,
so
wow.
I had very bleak ideas about the future. So when I got to Bombay, I got a job which was in a completely different scenario, like in a multimedia company doing CD-ROM games. It was not yet close to my dream of making films using animation. I wanted to make films with animation.
You've not spoken yet, Suresh, about your father, and I'm only bringing him up because you've said in the past that he inspired you with his ghost stories. Can you tell us more?
My father was completely like, you never know that he's such an amazing storyteller, because he was so convincing in telling the stories that it was part of my reality when I was growing up. So with the ghosts that he took me through, where he showed me where he sighted a few spirits and ghosts in his hometown, it didn't seem like exaggeration or unreal. It just felt like it is routine, because the way even people in his small town used to react to, oh, that there was a ghost there, oh, he must have come, and that cow died, no, that's why he must have come. So it would be as casual as and someone visited the town or something like that. So it's like they were not shocked or scared or something. It was like ghost lived with you, sort of a feel. But it was only when I was 40. Imagine, I'm 50 now. When I was 40, I realized that this man is such an amazing storyteller that he could actually make me believe some story that he told me from his imagination or hearsay, and convinced me of their existence for like 40 years. So which either shows that how dumb I am or how great a storyteller he is. I think I would go for the latter, because many people acknowledge how great a storyteller he is. And he continues, and it is very difficult to catch him when his imagination is getting into his storytelling part. It's very difficult. He's 95. He still maintains his amazingly convincing storytelling prowess even now. So I decided to make a film based on his account of the ghosts he has seen.
If his ghost stories have led you to this brilliant animation, we would like to believe the same. We would like to believe that, the latter were totally true. But tell us a little bit about the animation scape in India. Where do you think the Indian technical prowess, the funding stand in comparison to global standards? What more do we need to do, Suresh?
See, in Indian, I think ability-wise, there is enough and more prowess in animation in the country. There is a certain amount of that X% of refinement that needs to happen in an industry, which will only happen when there is a demand. I think you have the basic, but for you to elevate yourself to develop really amazing stuff, you have to keep doing it for a bit. In India, as far as content is concerned, there is no demand for great stuff. So stuff works. Mediocrity rules. Even lower than mediocrity also works, because people are getting to see it, and if you are pounding them with bad stuff, people will watch it. But so then there is no impetus for even the talented people that exist in the country to upskill themselves and create something even better. But if there is a challenge, they will be able to. So it's what my absolute confidence in the people in the animation space in India. So prowess is not the problem. It is really the creation of demand in the country for animation and animated stories of our own. That is what we are missing out. We are great at finishing the animation stuff for the West. When we are getting an order, when they think of an idea of a story and come and ask us to finish it and give it, we do that very well, really well. And that's 95% of Indian animation.
Okay, you've kind of touched on it already, but what would it take for India to become an animation capital of the world? So like you have, Japan, and we talk so much about different kinds of cartooning and animation that emerge from there, Europe, the US. What would it take for India to become a center?
I would think 5 years is good enough if we are able to fund some great animation films, which Indian people, local masses, would go and pay and watch in a theatre. If we can make that happen, I think everything will fall in place. If people want to see animation content which are great and they are hooked onto it, then there will be a demand for more content to be created for them. More content creation means more people working to create. That means more people should be studying animation and animation filmmaking to get onto that industry. That means the education also has to improve at a very basic level. So they are trained from the school days to think animation, tell stories with drawing, and it is never seen as a bad thing. In India, in schooling, art, singing or drawing or all those things are like, all those things you can do, but do what you need to pass the exam. So if that shift in the education happens, then I think many such industries will be prolific in our country. So I just put a roadmap. I think first and foremost is invest in great storytelling people who can make great animated films and release them across the country. Make whatever systems that need to happen where people can actually go to the theaters and pay and watch it.
Okay, lovely. Really hoping, Suresh, that the young especially find courage from your stories and pursue their passion the way you did. But tell us about your advice to anyone doing something before their time, because it's so very important to really take the best from these stories and implement it in your personal life.
I think I wouldn't say don't risk it, even though the risk that I was facing at that point was pretty existential. I didn't know what am I going to do, how am I going to pay the bills in Mumbai and stuff like that if I had to pack up the studio. But I think that really made me resilient enough to go out there and fetch work, because the condition on which Famous allowed me to continue was if I could procure work that could actually pay my people, the team that I had assembled by then. If I could pay them by the work that I can procure from outside, then might as well continue. So that really brought in something else in me, a different sort of spirit, which helped create a sort of a niche or an industry which today a lot of people are part of, with people who believe in creating films using animation. So that ecosystem happened probably because I took that risk. So when people are doing things before time, be completely ready for disappointments. That's all I can tell you. But there will be a time. There will be a time soon enough for you to figure out that perfect timing, which I still haven't.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Suresh, for sharing all those very interesting stories. And more power to you. Heartiest congratulations once again for Desi Un. From that, we shift our focus now to the world of sports. From losing his father and brother in 6 months to his sister's cancer battle, Akashdeep turned personal pain into power, and how he delivered a historic 10-wicket haul at Edgbaston.
It's a tale of triumph that lifted India to glory. Here's more.
India's loss in the first test against England in Leeds had put the team's bowling unit under the scanner. Jasprit Bumrah and company failed to pick all 10 English wickets in the second innings, letting the hosts chase down a daunting 371 with relative ease. As the team geared up for the next battle in Birmingham, things looked all but promising. Jasprit Bumrah, the pace spearhead, was likely to miss the match due to workload management, and the big question loomed. How would India win in his absence when they could not manage it with him in the playing 11? But who would have imagined that a group of young cricketers would script a historic win on English soil, and that too without its stalwarts? On Sunday, Shubman Gill's Team India answered that question emphatically. They crushed England by 336 runs to level the series 1-1 and register a first ever test victory at Edgbaston. More significantly, India discovered a way to win without Bumrah, and at the heart of that triumph was Akashdeep. Just 7 tests old, Akash was drafted into the playing 11 to share new ball duties with Mohammad Siraj alongside Prasidh Krishna. The combination raised a few eyebrows, but what unfolded over 5 days was nothing short of magic. Akash tore through England's batting lineup in both innings, claiming his maiden 10-wicket haul in Test cricket. He became only the second Indian fast bowler after Chetan Sharma to achieve these feat in England. He picked up 4 for 88 in the first innings and followed it with a brilliant 6 for 90 in the second. The numbers might make him look like a rookie, but behind those figures lies a story of resilience, heartbreaks, and unshakable belief. Back home, his father dreamed of seeing him in a secure government job, perhaps a constable or even a peon. Akash would fill out those exam forms but never truly attempted them. Cricket was his calling even back then. He left Bihar to pursue his dreams, settling in Durgapur, West Bengal and playing for United Club in the CAB Second Division League. Just as things were looking up, tragedy struck. In 2015, within a span of 6 months, he lost both his father and elder brother. The burden of supporting the family fell on his young shoulders. Still, he kept grinding. His breakthrough came in the 2019-20 Ranji Trophy season where he picked up 35 wickets, taking Bengal to the final. 4 years down the line, he made his test debut for India in the home series against England. Since then, there has been no looking back. With 25 wickets from 8 test matches, his best 10 for 187 came in Birmingham. Yet behind all the smiles lay more pain. Just 2 months ago, his elder sister was diagnosed with cancer, which he disclosed publicly on Sunday night after the world knew about his ability, especially in foreign conditions. Every time I had the ball in my hand, her thoughts would cross my mind, he revealed on live TV, holding back his tears. This performance is dedicated to her. I want to tell her, sis, we are all with you. Indeed, the hard work and the grind paid off, portraying him as one of the lethal weapons in India's artillery. But picking him at the right time was the key. Ahead of the second test, former India all-rounder Irfan Pathan had told Cricket Next that if India are not playing Jasprit Bumrah in Birmingham, they should get Akashdeep. It's safe to say now that his prediction was spot on.
Akashdeep is the right guy. Akashdeep is a very much a Shami mold kind of bowler who's got a straight seam. He can actually beat the batters, with surprise. He's got off the pitch zip. He's the guy who should be playing if Bumrah is not playing.
Akashdeep did not just fill in for Jasprit Bumrah. He announced himself to the world. In the toughest conditions, he rose from personal loss to script a fairy tale comeback, proving that grit, heart and belief can turn dreams into history.
Okay, and now from men's cricket to women's cricket, the Indian women's cricket team is making waves in more ways than one. After their impressive performance on the field, they are being welcomed and loved in London.
But what's even more special is their hidden talent. These cricketers are not just smashing boundaries with their bats, but also with their voices. Let's get up close and personal with Harmanpreet Kaur, Sneha Rana, Jemima Rodriguez, Shefali Verma and Deepti Sharma as they share their experiences and showcase their singing skills. Take a look.
The Indian women's cricket team was warmly welcomed at a reception at India House in London on Saturday evening. The team, led by a captain of few words and many runs, is winning passionate support from devoted fans where it goes and where it plays.
बस सबको थैंक यू बोलना है, थैंक यू आप लोगों ने हमें यहाँ बुलाया और इतना सारा प्यार देने के लिए और थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर टाइम.
Some of the players were invited to share some very personal thoughts.
The greatest strength comes to me from my family only. So, my parents, they struggled a lot. And me sitting here, I think वो सब उनकी blessings हैं.
Then because I reached a higher level in cricket than hockey at that time, we went ahead with cricket and I don't think it was that bad a decision.
पर हाँ, मेरा भाई बीमार हो गया था, उसको टूर्नामेंट में जाना था और मुझे लड़कों के साथ खेलने बहुत मज़ा आता था. तो ऐसे ही पापा कोच को फ़ोन कर रहे थे कि भाई नहीं आ पाएगा. तो मैंने पीछे से पापा को बोला म्यूट करो. तो उन्होंने म्यूट किया. फिर मैंने बोला मैं चली जाऊँगी, इससे अच्छा मेरी प्रैक्टिस भी हो जाएगी.
एक्चुअली मेरे भाई खेलते थे, उनकी वजह से मैंने खेलना स्टार्ट करा और हमेशा से फैमिली ने सपोर्ट करा क्योंकि उनकी सपोर्ट के बिना इतना पॉसिबल नहीं होता.
It's a team not just of batters and bowlers, but of singers as well.
ये दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे, तोड़ेंगे दम मगर तेरा साथ ना छोड़ेंगे.
The days are long gone when women cricketers were a far second to the men. The Indian women's team is winning passionate support through its matches here in England and is in the lead and no doubt will take the T20 Cup and the ODI Cup. These are stars shining bright and will shine brighter ahead without any doubt at all.
देखो इधर.
This
Dangerously cool.
Go, stop, go. Playing this game like a tic-tac-toe. Sharp as a razor, the flavor bowl. Flip it out, they wanna fold. Keeping them coming.
Motorola Razr 60. Dangerously cool.
Hello, Moto.
We made a deal with United Kingdom. We made a deal with China. We made a deal. We're close to making a deal with India. Others we met with, and we don't think we're going to be able to make a deal. So we just send them a letter. If you want to play ball, you have to. This is what you have to pay. So as far as I'm concerned, we're done. We're sending out letters to various countries, telling them how much tariffs they have to pay. Some will maybe adjust a little bit, depending if they have a cause. We're not going to be unfair about it. We're always subject to negotiate something that's fair, but we've talked to most of the countries, and pretty much they've had their way for many, many decades, as you know. And it was time that we just wanted fairness. This is not really equitable from our standpoint because it's just a small token by comparison to the damage that's been done over the years. We've already taken in over $100 billion worth of tariffs, and we haven't even started. And all I say to the other countries is, some of them wanted to make a deal and want to be fair. Others perhaps got a little bit spoiled. They were a little.
Welcome back, and now we bring to you a special section on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights.
All right, first let's take a look at market. GIFT Nifty is indicating a muted opening for Indian stock markets. US stock markets closed lower. This is after President Trump announced tariffs on Japan, South Korea and other trading partners. Asian stock markets were mixed after US said it is open to negotiations on trade tariffs. Now, crude oil prices drop as investors assess latest US tariff announcements.
Move on to the sectors now. Soaring gold prices have not dented jewelry demand, aided by festive season, weddings. Most players have reported a strong June quarter. However, the demand has shifted to lightweight jewelry due to rising gold prices, and the preference for buying from organized players, hallmarking and reduction in customs duty are supporting the organized branded players. So log in to Money Control Pro to find out more about India's jewelry sector and various other actionable insights on markets. It is the premium destination for all the way in investing views and financial insights you will ever need, brought to you by Money Control.
All right, and with that, we are drawing our show to a close. Do join us tomorrow right here at what time, Kritzmeen? 8 a.m. We'll see them. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
This is News 18.
Dangerously cool.
Go, stop, go. Playing this game like a tic-tac-toe. Sharp as a razor, the flavor bowl. Flip it out, they wanna fold. Keeping them coming.
Motorola Razr 60. Dangerously cool.
Hello, Moto.
We've made a deal with United Kingdom. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal. We're close to making a deal with India. Others we met with, and we don't think we're going to be able to make a deal. So we just send them a letter. If you want to play ball, you have to. This is what you have to pay. So as far as I'm concerned, we're